Hello and welcome to Women Engage, where real women talk about real issues. We're so glad you could join us today. My name is Stella Ostano, your host. Today we have a very important and very interesting topic. We are talking about food. And no, not that kind of food you're talking about. We're talking about food for the brain food. Have you ever thought about what you're feeding your brain with, what you're watching, what you're thinking about, what you're listening to? We're going to talk about all these things today, and we'd like to invite you to join us in the discussion. Visit our website at www.ecdadventist.org and click on the Women Engage button and join in the discussion. We'll be so glad to read from you. Today joining me are two distinguished ladies. I'd like them to introduce themselves and tell us something small about your favorite childhood memory, just a short snippet of a childhood memory of yours.
Hi everyone. I've been in this panel before severally, but for those who are joining us for the first time, my name is Rose Misati and I'm so glad to be here today. I have a lot of childhood memories that I can remember, but let me just share one that when my children will watch, they will actually laugh about it. One time my mother was going to the market and we wanted to join her because anytime you go to the market, we'll eat mandazis and fruits. So she just decided to leave us at home. I was the older one among the children. Mm-hmm. So as she went, I figured out that I can make some mandazi or some buns, to eat. And so I went to look for the flour that is used to bake. She had hidden it because I think she knew what kind of material I was made of. So she had hidden it away, locked it in the cupboard. I went to look for sugar. She had also hidden it away. So I figured instead of the wheat flour, I can substitute it for maize flour. Then when I didn't find sugar, I was about less than 10 years, maybe 8, 9. I said, instead of sugar, I can use salt. So I put salt. And then now I mixed that together. Then I went to look for oil to deep fry this. She had hidden the oil. So I figured instead of oil, I can use water. So I ended up having a mixture of maize flour, salt, and water. You can imagine that is like salted ugali, for those who know ugali. Yeah. Then I said, we need to make tea to take with this. Then because I don't know how to milk a cow, I figured instead of a cow, I can milk the goat. So I tried to tie the goat to milk. The goat kicked me so hard, I lay sprawled on the field until, very much later on. When my mother came, of course, she gave me a thorough beating. Yes, and that's a memory that I can remember.
Okay, that's very funny and very interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hello, viewers. My name is Debbie Maloba, and I'm here today, very happy to be part of the discussion. Yes, I have a memory. Mm-hmm. I do remember that when I was growing, I liked to climb trees. Mm-hmm. Especially when it becomes to pick some fruits. And I do remember that where we used to live, we had mango trees. So when now they are ready, yellowish, I wanted to climb myself and then pick some. Mm-hmm. But according to our cultures, girls
should not be climbing
climbing trees. Mm-hmm. So for me, I was hiding. My parents never knew, but one day I think God wanted just to teach me a lesson. So when I climbed, everything was okay. But now I don't know what happened because the mango I chose just to pick was that far. And I tried, but good enough, I picked it, but now to come down,
it was a problem.
It was a problem. So I now went down and then I had a wound. And can you imagine, you know those glasses, sometimes it has something that can enter. So it entered, yes, in my muscle. I hid it to my parents. I didn't. Yeah, but it was very painful.
I can imagine.
They couldn't see it. Until 1 week after. It started now, even impacting myself. I couldn't, it got infected. Yeah. That is when now I shed it. We ran to the hospital and they removed it. From that day, they discovered that I was doing it, and then I confessed. I confessed. Yeah. So till now, and when I got married, I shared it with my husband and my children.
Because
they
you have a
know.
scar.
Because
You have a scar to
I
share.
still have the scar till now.
Oh, okay.
So it remained in my memory. It never went out.
Yeah.
So that is
so
how.
That's a very interesting memory. So
Yes.
let me share mine. When I was about 8 years old, we had some cows. There was this particular bull which was notorious for chasing children. But what we would do is carry a big stick. So when it would see that you have a big stick, it would not chase you. So that day I was told to go and tether it so that, you know, we can do other things. So I took the cows and tethered all the others, and I left the bull for the last. So because I had to use both of my hands, I had to put the stick down. And as I was tethering it, I think it turned around and saw me without the stick, and it charged at me. And I ran, and I remember as young as I was, I jumped over a fence.
Oh.
Of course, that time I was little, and it looked like it was such a big fence. Now when I'm an adult, I'm like, it wasn't such a big fence. But you know, when you're little, you think it's, you know, a really tall fence. So that memory has stuck with me. And every time I share with my children, they laugh, and they try to imitate what had happened, you know, all the time. They say, Mommy, you remember the bull chasing you? So why I was asking you about these memories is because today we are talking about the brain, and the things which happened long time ago still impact us. We still have kept them in our brains. The Bible says in Proverbs 4:23 that keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it spring the issues of life.
True.
And I'm sure the Bible here is not talking about the heart that pumps the blood. It's talking about the mind, which is an organ that influences all the other parts of the body. Stadebi, could you maybe talk about that, how the mind affects the rest of the body?
Thank you, Sister Stella. I'm very happy that we talk about it because in our day-to-day life, it impacts us. The brain is connecting all our actions, all our movements, and even our information, the one that is spread all over the body. It comes from the brain. So the brain is like a major part of our body which communicate, even impact our characters. Whatever I do, the information I have, even the job I have to choose, it comes from my mind. So it is very important. That's why what we eat affects our brain. What we think affects our brain. Can you imagine even the sleep? Even when you choose not to sleep on time, it will affect. And even our social relationship, it is affected by our brain. So it is very important that we start thinking on what we are going to do. Let me just start with the food. I wanted to share how it affects. You know, the brain, it takes almost 1/4 of the energy the body needs. 1/4. I don't know if I'm wrong. Rose will tell me. But now think of the food you eat. Not all kind of food are specific to build our brain, to help it to be strong so that it will give us the information that we need. So we need to choose types of food which will build our brain. I just talk about vegetables. Those dark green vegetables. I'm told they are very good to build our brain so that I may be able to think. I think about fruits. Again, those dark green fruit. Do you know that there are people who don't like fruit? For me, I don't like fruit. Why? It is the one that builds our brain. Let me talk about sugar. When you decide to eat sugar, it will destroy your brain. Because there are people who are used to use sugar in every meal they use without knowing that it will affect their brain. And at a time, it will even bring something like toxic or something like that. And also, our body is going through metabolism. So they are what doctor will explain to us, what we call free radiation. These things, we need to have what we call antioxidant. Those food which will help us. Let me talk about vitamins. These will help us now to lower those toxins in our body. Sometimes we just want to fill our stomachs, without knowing that whatever we eat has to build our brain. So it is very important to see what we are taking.
As you were talking about what we take, most of the time we just eat because we are hungry. We need to fill our tummies. So whatever is on the table, we don't take time to think, how is this going to affect how my brain functions? Is it helping my body, or is it just something to fill up my tummy and bring issues later? So Dr. Rose, how exactly does things like sugar that you said affect the brain and how it functions?
Okay, thank you so much. Let me just begin also by adding with what Debbie has said and you, Stella, that the brain is the control center of the body. That is like where everything, all actions and reactions and everything, that is where it begins from. Did you know that even something like being needy, being poor, or being in scarcity, it begins from the brain? You know, whatever you think is what happens, okay, to you. How important then is it for us to be intentional and deliberate in what we feed our bodies, beginning now, because we are talking about the physical, the food, the body, we feed foods which are going to help us to have healthy brains. So let me say this. Whatever comes out of the food that we eat, the metabolites, I'm just looking for layman's language to use. Well, whatever comes from the food is what is used to produce what we call the chemicals, the neurochemicals that affect the body. I can give a simple example, like something like banana. You know, we have banana that has an amino acid called tryptophan. And tryptophan is what we call a precursor, is what we call like the beginning substance for formation of feel-good hormone called serotonin. So you find people are told when you eat actually 2 bananas a day, it helps in terms of feeling good, alleviating depression, and even blood pressure. Okay? And so when we eat things like sugar that is basically stripped of all nutrients, what it simply does, it gets very fast, it's released very fast to the blood and then to the brain, and it keeps us in a hyperactive state. The state where we call fight, flight, or freeze. This is a self-preservation state. Like if you have seen a tiger, or if you have seen a lion, or if there is danger, that state is okay. And that's what you described. The adrenaline rush can make you jump over a fence. Like me, you can't jump far. If I saw a lion, I can jump up there. So that's okay for a time. And I ask, in your lifetime, how often will you ever meet a lion? By the way, have you ever met a lion?
No, I've seen it, but I haven't met it.
You've seen it, maybe in the park or whatever, but a lion hasn't charged at you. So what we are saying is that these stressful conditions or situations are meant to be very rare, if at all. So then that is when we need to be in that flight mode, fight, flight, or freeze. But when we are taking sugar, because of the refined nature, it keeps our bodies in that state, hypervigilant, hyperactive state. And ultimately, because of the chemicals that are released, the adrenaline, the cortisol, and the stress hormones, it means our bodies are going to be in an acidic state. And when our body is in an acidic state, that leads to conditions like cancer, which is a stress disease, and other even mental illnesses. Okay? Yes, thank you.
It seems like fats.
Yes.
Fats are not also good. They are fats, what we call light fats. Yes, maybe monosaturated fats. These are okay, but they are fats which you find in meat or other products are very, very, very complicated. And also, just to help our people, that all the nuts are okay. The nuts are okay because they have those products, nutrients that also help our brain. Yes, I'm totally.
So I think to simplify, thank you so much, Debbie, to simplify to whoever is watching us, we will say if you eat food in its most natural state, like you talk about the seeds, you talk about the nuts, the way God created them, you are safe. Even the coconut, some people are deceived that coconut oil is not healthy. Perfectly healthy. Anything in its natural state, the way God created it, you're safe. You don't even need to be a rocket scientist for you to feed healthy. You just need to go to the shamba garden, to go to the market and just get food in its natural state. and eat it as less processed as possible.
possible.
And that's healthy for the brain because it means that even when it's being digested and the energy is released slowly over a period of time. So you are more calm and you even have more energy to undertake your tasks, not to release very fast energy into the system.
Thank you. Thank you.
And just to join with that, it's important to eat well, but it's also important to exercise. How important is exercise for our brain health? Yeah.
Exercise is extremely important. By the way, there is a book that I just bought from Adventist Book Center on the exercise cure. And it's saying that there is a pill, and that pill is exercise, that has been found to cure all diseases. And in that book, you find every disease and the exercise that cures it. Because as we exercise, we release the feel-good hormones. Actually, there are some doctors who are treating in the West, treating bipolar, I have read, with exercise, and that bipolar is one of the severe mental illnesses, and they are treating it with exercise and with diet. Because when you exercise, you enhance your blood circulation to the brain, and then you release the feel-good hormones, and you feel good. And exercise, most of the time, is the last thing that you want to do when you're feeling depressed. You want to sleep, you want to eat on the sugary and the starchy and the fatty food,
stuff,
unhealthy stuff. But then that is actually what you need, is the exercise and eating healthy. So exercise is critical. You don't need to have a gym. You don't need to have sophisticated equipment. You just need to have your body move. Our body was created for movement. Is it walking? Is it jumping? Is it gardening? And if you can do a productive exercise like gardening, the better for you. Playing with children and singing and everything. Let your body move.
So we need to avoid sitting all day. Like most of us have sedentary jobs that help. You know, we sit most of the day, so we need to be very intentional about exercising.
Exactly. Keep standing at every few minutes. Stand and then walk a little bit. When you need something broad, don't send somebody, even if you have the luxury. Stand up and go for it. Yes.
But also, just to add to it, is that every day, what I do, even though I am very busy, I find a time for at least 30 minutes. You just walk, even a simple walk, it will help you. 30 minutes, that will give the body that strength it needs now to evacuate whatever it is.
The waste products.
To waste
and
product.
also blood circulation.
But also for women, we are asking them to have a small garden where every day, at least 30 minutes. Yes, because now you will win double, because you will have vegetables, but also you will exercise.
And let's talk about, Stadebi talked about rest at the beginning. You know, we can do so much during the day, and sometimes we have so many things to do, and then when it comes in the evening, some people, yesterday I was talking to somebody who was saying, I have never gone to bed earlier than midnight, and I was like, what? How do you function during the day? Let's talk about how important rest is to our brain health.
At least for adults, having a minimum of 7 hours of sleep is important. And you know, when I say that, it really challenges me, because I'm one of those who hardly get 7 hours. I'm really constantly telling myself, and my last born son has been reminding me that, Mommy, you are too stressed to be blessed. And you know, there's this culture of gadgets in the evening, and I think I'm a victim of that. That's when I'm responding to messages I'm doing. I might say I'm doing a good thing, because usually I do counseling sessions at night, but again, it's not healthy for me. So when we look at the light in the gadgets, I have realized it actually interrupts your pattern. It even makes it hard for you to sleep early. I used to sleep by 9 p.m. Nowadays, I get to bed at 9, 10, there's no sleep. I'm like, I want to pick that phone, call one more person and what have you. So that light of the screen is not healthy in the evening. Sleep, by the way, it's very important, because it's at that time that our brains can refresh, can recharge, and they can rejuvenate. I was reading somewhere that in the US, a lot of accidents are caused because of people who lack sleep. And then you see also, when you lack sleep, you will find that you are having, you know, the stress hormone that we kept talking about, the cortisol. And it has been linked to having a wider waist circumference when you're having less sleep. So sleep is critically important, and also sleeping before midnight. Actually, there is a saying that 1 hour before midnight is worth 2 after midnight, because we have what you call the circadian rhythm, you know. So it's important for us to get to bed early, for us to get maximum rest and maximum relaxation. Better to sleep earlier and wake up earlier, other than sleep late and wake up late. So at least, let me just give a guide, at least 2 hours before midnight. sleep at least 2 hours before midnight.
Okay.
Yes, and I'm working on that myself.
We are all working on that because it's not
Confession.
easy, especially for people who live in a metropolitan area where they have to wake up so early in the morning to beat the traffic, and then they come back home late. So by the time you are organized 1, 2, 3 things, you only have 4 hours of sleep.
Exactly.
Yes,
Rose, I'm an example, a testimony of that one, because I do remember last time I had a tough time because I was doing some programs in one of our universities.
Yeah.
It was not easy.
Yeah.
When you go to bed after midnight and you do not sleep for 7 to 8 hours, in the morning I'm not concentrated.
Exactly.
I'm not, and I feel like I'm dizzy,
you're not
and also I'm irritating myself very easy.
Yes, you get easily irritated.
Easily irritated. And you are not even concentrated when somebody asks you a question. You don't know what to reply.
That's
yeah,
true.
because the brain didn't rest, so it can't process even what it's being
can't
told.
process, so it is very dangerous.
Yeah, yeah.
Very
and
dangerous.
at the end of the day, for those of us who love eating, you will eat more into the night.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you gain more weight.
Yeah, because you are more awake, and the supper you ate maybe at 6 is you feel like it's finished.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you want to grab a banana, you want to grab bread, some a cup of chocolate or something.
which is not healthy. You talked about gadgets. Let's talk about what the things that we watch, how they affect our brains, the TV shows we watch, things like that.
You know, by beholding, we become changed.
Yes. Yeah.
There is no way you are going to start to sit watching a program that is perpetuating certain wrong values and then you don't pick them. This is especially worse for children because what we keep on watching, that is actually what is going to influence us. A young lady said that the shows I've been watching have influenced me because I expect so much from my relationships because she's watching soap operas. And there's always this Camila, I think, should be the good girl, and there's some Alejandro, a good guy, and there's Miguel that is a bad guy. And then it's always about fighting for your love. And then you will see a girl is slapping a man and nothing happens to her. And then you try to slap in real life and you are beaten to
something happens to you.
You know, and you know these things you don't try at home. So when you watch, it's like your expectations of relationships is actually kind of skewed in a way. So we need to be very intentional on what we feed our minds because what we behold, that's what we become.
Because we are influenced by what, as she said, what we behold is what we become. So the other day I was somewhere, and this boda is a motorcycle rider, came and he had put some loud music, but the lyrics of the songs were, you know, I was by myself, but I felt like I should close my ears, and I was wondering, isn't he affected by that music? So let's talk about how music can affect our brains, either for the good or for the bad.
Yeah, music is very powerful. I'm not a very musical person in terms of singing. I keep on saying that on this side of heaven, I'm making a joyful noise. But when I go to heaven, I'll have a voice to sing. But I know that I love listening to good music, you know. Slow, godly, elevating and ennobling music. Now flip it on the other side. When you are listening to loud, obscene kind of stuff, kind of music, this is actually what comes out. And every time, because I work a lot with young people, every time I meet young people and they're telling me they are struggling to remain sexually pure, I begin by asking, what do you feed? You know, in terms of what do you eat, the food we have talked about. What do you watch? What do you listen to? And then at the end of the day, you realize that it's called garbage in, garbage out. Whatever you're feeding your brain is actually what is going to replay. It's unfortunate, especially when we are talking about children in their formative years, because these are children who actually are getting on the way of destruction. Unfortunately, the caregivers, as she has said, will be saying one thing maybe and doing the other one. And yet behavior is caught much more than taught. We need to teach by example in what we are doing as the older people. Yes.
Just to add to what she has said, music, this music which is light, which is inspiring, is requested. For me, my question, I ask always my question to my children or people with whom I watch music, what is the lesson? Because you need to watch something which will build you, which will help you to grow, especially for us who are Christians. What is the impact? What inspiration is it bringing to me, to my children, to my community, so that I will continue? But something that destroys me, that disconnects me to my God, I can't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, talking about music, I'll give you two examples, one negative, one positive. The other day, I was with my friend in the supermarket, and a particular song came on, and we looked at each other, and we smiled, and she said, don't even say it. I know you know the lyrics to that music, because it's music from when we were growing up, and for sure we could remember word for word. So the music not only affects now, but it also affects our relations in the future. It's like it doesn't leave the mind. It's a song that even if you've not listened to it for 10 years, if it plays now, you will sing the whole song. Now, the other example, which was positive, is that nowadays I try to play music in the evening, just piano, hymns, and stuff like that in the house. And you know, I have seen a big difference. Before, I would have to repeat to my children like 5 times, it's time to shower, it's time to do this. But now with the calm music playing in the background, I somehow don't have to, I say it's time to shower, and they just go. It's like it really does affect our brain. And so our time is really running short, and I know we have a lot of things to say. Just a parting shot on brain health.
I would like to say just what we have said from the very beginning, that the brain is a control center of the body, the mind, and everything. And so what we need to do is to be very intentional, very deliberate, because whatever we behold, we will actually get changed in that way. So let's feed our brains the healthiest food, the way God intended it to be, you know, in terms of the food we eat and what we watch and what we even think, by the way. Even the negative thoughts, we need to cut them out.
Okay, thank you.
For me, I have a verse in John 10:10, which says, I'm reading from New International Version, the thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it in the full abundance. This is God. Whatever we do, let us seek the advice from God. Let us do everything in accordance to God's will. Let us ask wisdom from God so that whatever we do will reflect that love from God, and it will help us to live longer and healthier.
Okay,
Thank you.
I will also leave you with a verse from Philippians 4 verse 8 that says, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, pure, lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if anything has virtue or praise, think on these things. And with that, we've come to the end of our program about brain food, and we hope that we will all take deliberate efforts to take care of our brains that God has given us so graciously. Until next time, goodbye and God bless you.